And now for a poem about Redcar, which might have some similarities to one that was written a long time ago about Blackpool. Anyway, I call this one Geoffrey and the Dolphin. There's a seaside place called Redcar, what's noted for penguins and flags, and mother and father and Geoffrey came down with their lunch in their bags. A grand little lad was young Geoffrey, all dressed in his best, quite a toff, in his jeans with big holes in the kneecap, and a t-shirt that said bugger off. They didn't think much of the high street, or the bit that's been left of the pier, but there's one or two places for ice cream, and some for cold ham and warm beer. Seeking for further amusement, they walked up the Prom's seaward side, where there's benches and blue plastic dolphins with litter bins fitted inside. There was one lonely dolphin at stray end, standing, his back to the sea, gazing past Lord Street and shoreline, where the old folks were having their tea. Now Geoffrey had heard about dolphins, how they lived in water and stuff, and seeing the dolphin on stray end, he didn't seem quite wet enough. So right off the brave little fella went over and gave him a heave, trying to push him down slipway and over the rocks to the sea. The dolphin's blue cake hole fell open, and poor little Geoffrey fell in. Down the chute with the rubbish, he ended up down in the bin. His father had seen this occurrence and almost started to laugh. He said, "Mother, yon dolphin's et Geoffrey." And mother said, "Don't be so daft." But father said, "Look, there's his sandshoe, and it says it were made in Taiwan. And the ankle inside it's so dirty, I reckon it must be our son." So they sent for the council chap, Jimmy, and helped by Geoffrey's dad, they made the dolphin turn turtle so he would sick up the lad. Jim had come on his push bike from Eston because it were one of his jobs to empty the bins in the dolphins and prize little boys from their gobs. But Geoffrey's feet were still waving and his head was still sticking tight. So Jimmy suggested to mother that they take him to depot for night. At this mother got a bit shirty. "I want my son back," she said. So Jim took a 14-pound hammer and belted the dolphin on the head. The dolphin kind of exploded. It were all a bit of a shock, for Geoffrey ended at Saltburn and Jim on the top of the clock. Mother landed up at the station, and father were outside the Swan, so he went in the bar for a whiskey, and the dolphin, well, he'd just gone. The mayor sent a letter to mother, regretting the way that her son had been forcibly ejected from out of the blue dolphin's bum. He hoped that they all would recover and come back to Redcar in spring. But now, on behalf of the council, he had to present them a bill. For the dolphin was part of the fittings that council provided on stray. And what with the Tories in power, they had to find someone to pay. Mother said, "I'm not going to pay him. The council will have to absorb it. We shouldn't have to fork out for our kids to be fired into sublunar orbit."